me at all times. And I was just lucky enough to learn how to apply it the correct way.
Gotcha. What about you, Carolyn?
No, none at all.
No,
I've always been the type to go out and, like you say, hustle or try to make little, ends meet or make a little money on the side. I did some things when I was young that my mom didn't want me to do, just to bring money in. So I've always had that in mind to go out and if there's something that I wanted, I was going to work hard for it.
Okay.
But yeah, so.
Okay. And so now let's go back to you, Carolyn, I know you're married. Nixon, are you married?
No.
Okay. And now, do you have any children?
Yes, I have a son.
You have a son. And Carolyn, how many kids do you have?
2. I have 2, a son and a daughter.
Okay. So I want to kind of go back to, because Carolyn, you have a business called My Little Sugar Plums Bakery. Yeah. I want you to tell the story of how you got there. We'll get to that point.
Okay.
And Nixon, you have a business called Melanin Bay Body Butter. And I first connected with you, Nixon, when we did a spotlight through the Juneteenth Blackout group. And you had literally just started, but your business has exploded since being in on that spotlight. I want to go back to before you actually said, I'm going to do the business. I want to go back. I always like to kind of pick people's brains. Carolyn has already kind of been through that a little bit with me, but I want to kind of go back to the days before you started the business. All right. So Nixon, for you, tell me first, what made you, how long had you had this dream of Melanin Bay Body Butter in your being before you just said, I'm going to do something with it?
Okay. Well, I always wanted to do it. When I was in college, I used to make like stuff for my hair. My friends would call it hair crack. And I would make stuff for our skin and do things like that. And it was just something that I always kind of toyed with, but I never really took it seriously. And then unfortunately, like most women, I really got caught up into a really crazy and abusive relationship to where all of my talents and all of my creativity was used against me to build him and his career up. And then it's crazy how like the universe works, how things like line up together, because as soon as that relationship ended, it was like, I think I can start this now, but I was still hesitant. I was still scared. I was still going through the low, self-confidence and things like that. And then my son started talking about space camp, and I was like, dang, God, I guess I got to do it now. Well, let me just do it and see what happens. And then ever since then, it's just been taking off. And every day I'm like, okay, I went this far, so maybe I can go a little bit further. So I'm kind of just winging it, me and my vision board and my notepads and stuff. And I'm just taking this thing day by day, but it really just started from a place of healing and a place of trying to use what I know can be good for myself and others, really pouring that into myself and loving myself and figuring out who I am again. And it happens to help me really get into my own business, which is something that I am so thankful and grateful for.
Yay!
Awesome.
I always love to hear that story that you were trying to, do something for your son's science camp, and Dad started the dream was always there, but you had to have a reason to act. And your son was your reason to act.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Now, Miss Carolyn, when did you start to have sort of that entrepreneurial desire to have a bakery?
I had a desire in probably about 2014, just kind of thinking about it, working hard at work, doing things that I love to do, which is bake and work with individuals with intellectual disabilities. And then my husband finally said, wow, you're working so hard. Why can't you do this for yourself? And I've always thought in my mind that, yes, I know I can do it, but I was so afraid. And so I just started talking to my very good friends, and they encouraged me, including you, encouraged me. And one day you just told me you have greatness inside of you. And I'm like, really? And so I just took it from there. And some things happened, like with some of the guys that used to be in my class that kind of encouraged me and made me, you know what, I got to do this. I got to do this for this guy. So I was not I didn't really start the business for myself. I actually started it for those individuals with intellectual disabilities. It was never for me. And to this day, I still say it's not for me. It's for them, so that they will have the opportunity to be able to to have employment.
Wow. So, you know, your business concept is so beautiful and filled with so much love. Because right now you currently work at a school, and you work with kids with disabilities. And so a lot of times when the kids graduate, it's hard for them to find employment.
Yeah.
And so part of your vision for your business is to be able to provide employment to kids who are adults who would not otherwise be employable.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Every
And
time I hear that story, I love hearing that.
And that's truly what brings me joy. That is my happy place, is working with those guys. So
Wow.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now, the thing that I heard between both of you in starting this business, or the challenge, was that you both had a desire to have some kind of business. Nixon, I heard you say that, you know, you were kind of afraid, you were in a relationship that kind of broke down. You wanted to do it, but you were afraid. And then you decided that your son wanted to do something, and you needed to create a way, an avenue of building funds to be able to do it. And you said, you know what? I know it. I'm going to start this business, making basically beautiful lotion products. Basically, is what you do for our skin. I use it. I love it. I love the body scrub. I got on my body butter right now.
Yes.
I smell like pudding.
Yes.
Yeah. So I really, really love your products. And Carolyn, now you sell cinnamon rolls. Now, a couple weeks ago you brought.
Those are her cinnamon rolls that you post?
Yes.
Oh.
And she just recently created a new dessert. What dessert was this, Carolyn?
It's a cinnamon roll cheesecake. So I have this group of wonderful friends that I work out with. We call ourselves the C10 because we work out at the gym. And so when all of the COVID and all of this stuff came, the gym closed down. And so it was 10 of us that decided to work out in the park lot. And so they know how to challenge me, because they just posted, oh, I would pay somebody $50 to make this cinnamon roll cheesecake. And I'm like, okay, should I do it? Are they challenging me? And so I decided to make it. And I gave all of them a slice. And then I also took a slice to Sean and some more other people to see how they liked it. And everybody was just raving about it and was saying how delicious it was. So I told the group, I said, you do know that this will be Sugar Plum's recipe if it's good. And so it's Sugar Plum's recipe. It's like, so now it's going to be, it will be a regular. So.
Wow. Well, let me tell you, when I tasted that cheesecake, I was just, all I could do, you know how you eat something, I'm like, why did she? And this is the funny part, Nixon. Okay, here it is. I'm eating good that day. You know how I had a bad day the day before, so I'm eating good. I'm all good. But I'm seeing a text like, I think you called me. I'm gonna drop off. I got a new recipe I want you to taste.
Yes.
No, Carolyn, not today. I'm doing good today. And so, of course, I said, all right, we'll bring it on. So she brought it. And of course, I ate one bite. And I was like, oh, this is so good. And I ate another bite. And then, of course, I ended up eating this, the whole slice. I think I let everybody taste the bite, but she only brought me one slice, which everybody was happy because we've been like doing the tastings for some of her dishes. So we're like, okay. So I tasted it. I was eating it. I was like, man. First of all, the combination of a cinnamon roll with a cheesecake.
Right.
Is amazing, right?
Yeah.
But the taste is amazing. So that's a great product. That's a great dessert.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So tell me, guys, I'm a female entrepreneur as well, and I struggle even still when I'm trying to build something, to just stay committed to doing what I know. That dream, that vision, right? Mm-hmm. How do you stay committed to your vision to build something that starts off with nothing? when you know you have a full-time job to maintain as well? How do
Well,
you,
for me, I'm not a punk. So I get scared, but the very thing I'm scared of, like the way my ego is set up, I can be trembling on the inside, but on the outside, I'm about to put on this poker face and I'm gonna act like, I'm with it. And so that's kind of my personality with everything. I was so scared to start my business. I took the entire stimulus check that I received, and I was like, Lord, I don't know what Donald Trump doing, but if he's really gonna do this, then I'm going to do it for my benefit and for me and my family. And I really want to be able to stay dedicated for something, because I'm tired of working myself to death for a company that will replace me by the end of the week, if anything were to happen to me. Or I'm tired of working my fingers to the bone when I'm going to have to explain why I need to leave work early because my son is tired. And so I think about those things in the forefront of my mind. I'm tired of working for other people. I'm tired of clocking in when they tell me to clock in. I'm tired of taking my lunch break. I don't want nobody telling me what to do in the journey and walk where I am in my life. And my grandmama used to always say, when in Rome, do as the Romans, and when you can't, you need to go build your own Rome. And that's what I decided to do. So even when I get tired, even when I get in this spirit of procrastination, I think about that first. That's always in the forefront of my mind. And that will wake me up out of my sleep sometimes. Like, I can't get comfortable. I'm not this, I'm not that. I can't, because I'm so fearful of falling back into this robotic, complacent state where I'm constantly giving my all into others and other organizations, and then I'm diminished within myself. So I always think about that first.
Girl, you said so much. You said so much now. That's not how your ego set up. I love that, and I'm glad that your ego isn't set up that way. But yes, it's understanding that if you can go give 8 to 10 to 12 hours to somebody else's business, to somebody else's dream, why is it that you're so comfortable with yourself to come home after work and then claim to be too tired to invest in your own? And it's literally like we've been trained like robots to do just that. And justifiably, if you work 12 hours, it makes sense that you come home and say, well, I'm just too tired. I can't watch a webinar. I can't read a book. I can't advance my knowledge in this area, or learn a new skill, because I've been working all day. It's so justifiable to not do it. I did it for so long. It was like, oh no, I can't add another skill. I don't need another skill. I've worked 10 hours. I don't want to come home and try to learn something new, right? But if you're trained, which I think we are trained to be very robotic in building somebody else's dream, and no matter who you work for, if it's not a business where you either found yourself and you own 100% or own a good percentage of it, right? Then you're working for somebody else, and there's nothing wrong with working for somebody else, right? Not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. But if you have a dream or a thought or a desire to build something of your own, but you're unwilling to get off of your regular job and invest into that dream, and just continue to use the excuse of, I'm too tired, I'm busy at work, you're never going to be able to build anybody. And it's like you just said, you're going to live in somebody else's Rome. Right? And if you're in somebody else's Rome, then don't complain when they want you to work an extra 5 hours, or they're going to fire you, or they don't want you to take an hour break, they want you to take a 45-minute break, or they work you to the bone and don't give you any raise. You're in their Rome. So Carolyn, how do you balance that? Or did you have that same struggle? Or do you have that same struggle?
I do, but I think, Sean, what keeps me going and is helping me to not fail is to know that those guys, my sugar plums, are dependent on me. There are many times I'll come home, I'm tired. I don't want to see a bake. I don't want to see a cinnamon roll. I don't want to make anything. But because I know, every first and third Sunday, that's when we do our sale, I have to work. And so I always look at, these guys are dependent on me. This is their job. They get so excited to be able to come to work, to have a place to work. And so I can't fail them. And so it just keeps me going.
Wow.
And I can't fail. And so I have to keep going. I have to work hard. Whether it's hot or cold outside, I'm there. We're working. And so just seeing their faces and how excited they are to know that I'm going to work. And they're, I have one guy that works with me, Jacob. Jacob loves to work with me. He gets up two hours early. He has his clothes laid out 2 weeks before work day. His mom told me. And so, that's what keeps me going. And so I love it.
I think sometimes we don't understand that, when you have a dream and a thought about your life, you're actually, even though you think it may just be for you, right?
Yeah.
You're actually a light to others, right? And you have to continue to show up and continue to build what you're building, because there's somebody else that has that same thought of building something, but they're so used to their valid excuses, right? They're so used to their valid excuses, and excuses are valid, right?
Yes,
I used to use
they
them all
are.
the time. I'm tired, right? But if you ever want life to be different, then you got to start doing something different, right? So I would think, because I know for me, it's literally like I have 2-3 full-time jobs, right?
Yes.
What about y'all?
Yes. Like
That's
this
how I
morning,
feel.
I didn't go to sleep until like 8-9 o'clock this morning. And then I woke back up. I'm still learning the whole night. I'm still learning like CT time and all of that. So I kept setting my alarm every hour, like, oh no, I cannot miss this podcast. But I feel like when you constantly like dim your light and like make yourself, it's like wearing a size 10 shoe, but you like this size 8 or this size 6 so much. You know it doesn't fit. You know that this is painful for you, but you're going to force yourself to wear it anyway. I'm about to be 32 years old in a few weeks. I am no longer in a position where I'm giving anything my time that doesn't make me fulfilled. Like how you get hungry and you just keep eating chips. You're okay for now, but in an hour or so, you're going to be hungry again. I'm tired of doing things that's leaving me constantly like hungry, whether it's career-wise, whether it's friendships, whether it's relationships. If it's not going to fill me up, then I can't do it. And I know it might be scary, but what's even more scary is me waking up. I'm 45 years old and I'm looking back over my life and I feel like, what did I do? I don't want to experience that. If I want to wake up and go to the Hamptons for the week, I want to be able to do so. And if I want to be able to take my son to Nassau, to Arkansas, wherever, or to see some bears somewhere, I want to be able to do that as well. And I'm the type of person, I know myself by now. And I know that I am at my 100% when I am creating. I am a creative, whether I'm singing on the stage, because that's my background, or whether I'm directing for photo shoots or writing plays or teaching kids how to do staging and lights. I'm not okay spiritually when I'm not creating. I'm not okay mentally when I'm not creating. So I cannot be in any type of environment that is not conducive to me being a creative. And what other environment is best than an environment that I can create and control for myself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. What about you, Carolyn? You clearly are creative because you're a baker. So how do you sort of deal with just you have this business, you have this job, you have a plan. How do you motivate yourself to keep, and I know you have your children, but how do you motivate yourself to keep going?
Well, the thing about it, Sean, is that I enjoy the baking. I love Jake. I'm in a totally different world when I'm baking. And so when I'm creating things, it just makes me feel good. It's de-stresses me. I'm stress-free when I'm baking. And I just start creating different flavors, and it's just my joy. That I love being in the kitchen. And I never knew that until, some years ago when I actually started all of the baking. I really enjoy it. And so to be able to do something that I really, really love and enjoy and create, and to work with the people that I truly, truly love working with, it's just a masterpiece.
So
Just
you
put it
learned
together.
how to turn what you like into an income stream.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like you've done, right? And then
Yes.
on top of
Yes.
that, you do a great service for the world and for kids with disabilities, because you're creating an empire
Yes.
that's going to be able to employ adults who may not otherwise find employment once they're out of school.
Yes.
I always like
Because
to talk in terms of you're building an empire, right? Because one of the things for us is that, I'm a good hustler. Like I've always told you, I am a very good hustler. I've been a very good hustler for a very long time. But hustling doesn't build businesses, right? Hustle, that just means you're just going to continue to hustle. And so now I've been on this thing where I'm trying to build businesses, right? And it's challenging because we don't really have a lot of examples of Black female businesses, right?
Yeah.
Now don't get me wrong, there's some super successful Black women out there, so I'm not saying that they're not, right? But we're just used to sort of hustling, right? You make enough, pay the bill, make enough, pay the bill, right? But when you're trying to build something, it takes a different kind of mindset, right? Because at the end of the day, I think what we all want is freedom, right? But we want to be free to be able to do more of what we want to do, right? And make money doing it.
Yes.
Right? Is that not? I mean, is it just?
Absolutely.
I totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you hear them, you'll listen to some of these motivational speakers, and they'll tell you to do what you love or find your purpose. And I for a long time, I was stuck trying to find my purpose. Now I know what I ended up concluding about that. I would love to get your thoughts as Black female entrepreneurs. Did you ever find yourself? Did you find your purpose? Did you find your purpose? Looking for your purpose? Did you ever find a block with that? Just kind of tell me about finding your purpose, or did you have any issues with that?
For me, when it comes to finding your purpose, I think you can find something, but if you don't know what to do with it, then what does it mean that you found it? It doesn't mean anything. If you don't value it, then it's like, okay, how can you translate that and understand that and apply that to yourself? And I think that you really have to get uncomfortable first to even be able to value your purpose in the first place. I think you have to be so uncomfortable to where your fear of continuing to do the same mundane routines is more frightening to you than you stepping out on there and you figuring out what you have to do for yourself. So I always knew that my purpose was about creating, and I always knew that I wanted to create something where people could feel good about themselves, whether it's mentally and spiritually through my music and through my plays, or whether it was physically through my products. I knew that I was a creative since I was a little child. My whole family always knew I was a creative, so my purpose always followed me. But life happens to get you off track, and you happen to get complacent and you get stuck, and I wasn't uncomfortable enough. And I finally hit the bottom, underneath rock bottom, and I was like, I'm not doing this no more. I can't, nothing can be worse than this. And then I started to value my purpose. I started noticing how I'm doing these creative shows and I'm making these organizations $10,000-$12,000, and I'm not getting a $500 director's fee. That means that if I can make that money for you, then I can do something and make that same money for myself. And I think that you just have to be able to value your purpose after you find it.
Value your purpose. I love that. Value your purpose. What about you, Carolyn?
I never knew what my purpose was. I never expected to be doing what I'm doing, although I enjoy it. I just never had that was just far-fetched. I didn't even think about doing something like this until I started realizing I really, really love this. And maybe this is my purpose. A lot of people will come to me and say, oh, you have so much patience. You do this so well. This is you. And I started realizing I do have a lot of patience. And then I started thinking, okay, maybe this is something that I need to be doing. This is something that I love. I enjoy it. I'm in a totally different world when I'm doing it. And then to be able to interact with other people. I love meeting new people, and the interaction it's amazing. And so it's something that I never thought that I would be doing. And so just to know now that this is what you're supposed to be doing in life, now I just need to make it great. And that's what I'm doing. I'm working on it to build an empire and to make it great and greater.
Great. I love that. I love that. I love what you said, that this is you. See, the way I used to think about purpose was I used to think about purpose being outside of me. It was something that, I was going to run into one day, right? And so I can remember spending a very long time trying to run into my purpose. Purpose, where are you? I'm looking forward. Like I'm mad at where are you, purpose? And then one day, in a way, kind of like with what you said, I didn't say these words, but it still holds true. I had to find what was me, but it was already with me. I had carried it all the way, but I wasn't trained to see it in me.
Yes.
I was trained to see it outside. So I went down a lot of different trails looking for purpose when all I needed to look was at me. At you. Right? Yeah. What are those qualities about me? Right? What is it that I can do? I can do it waking up in the morning. I can do it going to bed at night. I can do it tired. What are those things, right? And so when I started to reframe what purpose or how I was going to quote unquote find purpose, and I stopped saying it. I stopped saying I was going to find my purpose, and I became purpose, right? Because it's through me that purpose shows up, right? Because it's through me being intentional, like having a podcast, writing my blogs. I could tell, I know people heard the story. I had wanted to write for so long, right? And never would I write because I thought that writing was going to overtake me, right? I thought it was going to overtake me. Like all of a sudden someone's going to control the pen and just cause me to write. Until I realized, wait a minute, I want to write. You're going to have to sit yourself down and write and start. Right. And so, and it sounds like that theme when I talk to entrepreneurs, I talk to business people, and I really get down into it, it's like everybody kind of gets to the point they have to find what is themselves. And in finding what is themselves, then the creative part of them comes out, right? Because I think a lot of times we want to be, a lot of people say this, I'm not creative. I tell people, stop saying it. We're all creative. The reason why you think that you're not creative is because you have found yourself caught in what I call the comparison trap, right? Have you ever experienced the comparison trap? Is the best example of the comparison trap is hair, right? When I was younger, and not much younger, I loved wearing weaves and wigs and stuff like that. And one day I wanted to pay off my student loans, but I needed to free up some money, right? And so I was like, well, what can I stop doing that'll save, I could save a couple of dollars. And something in my mind said, hair. Stop spending all that money in your hair. Can't do that. Can't do that now. I gotta have my wigs. And so to fast forward, what happened one day was I really wanted to put myself on a plan to pay my student loans off because I knew there was other things that I wanted to do. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm taking the weave out, right? I'm gonna wash my hair, and my hair looked all kind of ways, right? And I said, okay. And I realized that I was uncomfortable with my own hair. I was super uncomfortable with my own hair, but I was determined to find comfortableness with my hair. And I remember getting in my car, hair like all kind of ways. And I went to the outlet mall and I walked around, right? Because I was trying to own being me,
Yes, right.
right?
Yes.
And so, and I realized in that moment, part of the problem was somewhere in me, there was a rule that my hair wasn't pretty enough, that my hair wasn't good enough, right? And I had to come face to face with that rule and say, okay, wait a minute. Who says this rule is valid other than me validating it by my actions?
Yes.
Right. And you know, and I think what perpetuated me into seeing what was a rule that was actually hurting me was that I had a desire to pay off a student loan debt, right? And it opened the door to me exploring all things mental, right? What else am I being blocked by?
Yes.
I don't even know I'm being blocked by it.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and I think with you, Nixon, it was that desire to be able to send your son to camp and be able to pay for it. It's like you had to figure out, okay, how can I do that? Right. And then it connected with a thought and a dream that you had for business and a natural skill and talent that you had with regards to making products. Right. And then you, Carolyn, you ever since I've ever met you, you've always been so caring and so attentive and such, you know, like the mama bear, right? She's such a better, much better mommy than I am, right? And you've taken that and you've turned that natural quality about yourself into a business.
Yeah.
Do you understand how it all starts with you?
Yes. Yes.
And I think it's important for us to realize, like, society and everybody makes us feel like we have to have everything figured out. Sometimes that's the problem. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you won't even begin to start because your mind is already flooding you, making you feel like I have to have this. I have to know this all in one day. Just take it a little chunk at a time, and you get on that chunk and that works out, and you get on another one. Just start wherever you can. You might not have the space for a retail store or the money for the type of inventory you want, but figure out what you can get. In the South, we say something like you have champagne taste on a OE type of budget.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how you need to live. Figure it out. Make it work. You need to apply that same energy to yourselves. And I know I'm like that. Like, I have anxiety, so I make like strategic grocery store lists. I have to know what aisle I'm going to, when I'm getting there. I have to get all my vegetables together and all my meat together. And it's good to be that way, but then sometimes you need to just be able to be like, wait a minute, I don't need to have all this figured out. I'm just going to take the first step. And then after that step, I can get to step number 2, step number 3. But you won't even get to the end vision if you're too blocked to step out and just take the first step.
Yes.
Wow, you
totally
said
agree.
so much there, Nixon. Oh my
Yes.
God. Right?
Yes.
You don't need to have it all figured out. And I think sometimes with us, that's what gets us stuck, right? I know that's what used to get me stuck. It's like I felt like
it makes you scared.
Huh?
It makes you scared. It makes you
Yeah,
scared.
yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I don't know how am I going to pay this? How am I going to do this? Never mind. I'll just stay at this job. I'll stay next year. And next year turns into 2 years turns into 2.5. And then before you know it, you want to take a family vacation and you've been working for this company forever. And you're like, wait, what am I doing? I don't want to waste that time anymore.
Wow. Carolyn, did you have it all figured out when you started My Little Sugar Plum?
I did not, and I'm still learning, and I'm growing as I'm going. And so there are a lot of things that I'm like, why didn't I do this 10 years ago? Or, you know, there's some things that I'm learning, like I just learned last week about my business. And so I just think learning as we grow, and like you said, we don't know everything, but when, you know, you just continue to learn and be accepted, you know, accept what you're learning and work with it. And so,
Exactly. You don't have to have it all figured out. So I think that one of the first things, if you're watching this and you want to be an entrepreneur, understand that you don't have to have it all figured out. In fact, you don't want to have it all figured out. One of my, self-declaring missions is to get people to sort of, one, believe in themselves, two, do more of what you want to do, right? And three, live with in learn mode, in a joyful, in a joyful way, right? Like I live in learn mode in a joyful way, and I play two roles with myself. I'm the student and I'm the teacher. Right? And I think if you take on the dual role of being the student and the teacher to yourself, then you don't get stuck trying to think that you have to have it all figured out before you start. Because you realize that, wait a minute, I'm not going to get trapped in a comparison trap, because this job that I'm working at, they didn't have it all figured out when they started either. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, there's no business out there in the world that had it figured out when they started. Never. They may feel like they got it figured out now, right? Yeah. But they really didn't have it figured out when they started. And what we've got to do is we got to retrain ourselves and got to say, okay, you know what? Instead of me being on this wheel, being the energy bunny that keeps their thing going, let me be my own energy wheel and start to create and to build what I want to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm tired of living in Rome, right? I need a little black Rome or something, right? You know, a little bit more of what I want in this world, right? And I think if we all started to do that, now I think we can start building business. Now, will our businesses be gigantic in the next year? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
You'll never know where it can grow to if you don't start.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So tell me this, Carolyn, what advice would you give to any young girl or guy that's got an idea about a business, but don't know what to do, and they got a full-time job, they work a lot, and they have this idea, but it's like, oh, I'm not gonna do nothing with it. What would be your advice to that person?
I would just tell them, I mean, if you have a vision, if you have an idea of something that you want to do, go for it. Don't be fearful. Because you learn from your fear, and then you do something different. And it's okay to fail. If you fail, it's okay. You learn from that. You pick up where you failed at, and then you be able to use that information and be able to move forward with whatever idea you want to do. And but never, ever, ever give up. I don't ever see myself giving up. I'm going to keep pushing forward no matter what happens, with my business. I'm going to keep going. This is something that I started, I created. And so I wanted to be the best, and I would never, ever, ever give up on it. So.
Wow, I love that.
Don't let finances, if you think, a lot of people think that you have to have a whole lot of money to start a business. You don't. You don't have to. You start little, and then you start building as you go. And that's what helped me out. So.
Wow. And because a lot of times people get so afraid of failing. And I'm big on reframing words or using different words. I don't think you ever really fail. I think it's what you just said. When you try something, if it didn't quite work out the way you wanted, it's okay. You still learn something. Use what you learn, and then
to succeed.
Right? Yes. I can remember I had a Carol, you remember this when I had a hair care product business, right? When I was making my own hair care products, right? Because when I went natural, I was like, I'm gonna make my own hair products. That's the type of person. I just go in, right? I'm gonna learn everything about it. I'm gonna try it. But it wasn't my heart. It wasn't me, right? But I still learned from that experience, and I don't consider it to be a failure. I consider it to be an experience. I learned from it, and guess what? I'm starting a business. I'm gonna try another business. I'm gonna keep doing it and keep showing up. Nick, so what advice would you give to someone that maybe they don't have a particular business idea in their mind that they want to do, but they want to do something besides go work a 9 to 5? What would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them research is free. I would take whatever you're doing at your job and just research ways on how to apply that for yourself. Research is free. I don't have money to start my business. You don't need money to research. Research, if you're a secretary somewhere or you're a bank teller, try to research on how to, I don't know anything about banking, but child, research it and learn it. You want to, not be an administrative assistant anymore. You could figure out how to maybe start your own temp agency, or how to teach people how to be the perfect assistant. Take whatever you're doing and take away the meat and then throw away the bone and apply it to yourself. And I will also tell them to, I don't think it's necessarily about setting goals. It's about setting smart goals. A goal is, I want to lose 20 pounds. That's too objective. Like, it's too open. I want to lose 20 pounds by this date because of this. And start to frame your goals and write it down on like a Post-it note or in your phone. Do a little, a small bubble map. And by the time you fill this in, maybe you will have a flushed out, I have a business idea now. I didn't know what I wanted at first, but now I have an idea of what I want to do. And even if you have to go back to this map and erase, that's okay. You need to be teachable. You need to learn how to, my first shipment, everything melted. And I was in the post office crying. I don't know why I did this. I took that whole $1,700 and wasted it. And I had to get myself together and learn from that mistake. So I just had to go back and erase something in my bubble and figure in something else. And if something else doesn't work, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have an idea about something next week, and I'm gonna have egg on my face, but I'm gonna know how to wipe it off, and I'm gonna know how to go back to the drawing board and press reset. And be gentle with yourself. Be very, very gentle with yourself. If you are taking care of your kids, taking care of your household, taking care of your man, trying to be something in the community, answering your boss emails, doing parent-teacher conferences, and you have to do your lesson plans. Take a breath for yourself. Nobody else is going to do it. Everything else needs to wait, and you need to take a breath, whether it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 5 minutes. Just figure out something that you may want to do, that you can apply that research and help you figure out what will be an clear and happy, smart goal for you to be able to be okay and do what you want to do.
Absolutely. I love what you said. Research is free. And I think, a lot of times people don't make moves because they're seeking clarity first. And, I tell people it gets clear as you go. Right. It gets clear as you get that clarity. Once you start, you get more clarity. Right. And then sometimes you do have to go back to that drawing board. I live my life off of the, I told you I'm both student and the teacher. And the best way to capture the principle of being a student and a teacher is to do what you said, Nixon. Write it down. Write it out, right? I started this thing a couple of years ago where I just took a book like this. This thing was empty. And anything that I came across, I put it in there. Anything that I wrote, I put it in. If I was listening to a podcast or a friend and they said something, I get my phone. Check it real quick, right?
That's me.
And what I found out after about a year, 6 months to a year of doing that, is that those words came back to life in my life. And that did something to me, y'all. Like, it was like a light bulb. All of a sudden, I connected myself to myself, right? And I was like, well, shoot. Well, let me say, I started being very careful about what I was gonna say. If I'm working on something, it was no more failure. It was experiences. It was no more struggles. It was a building, a remodel. I gotta remodel this, right? This model that I thought was gonna work is not gonna work. I need to retry it, reframe it. Because I started to connect myself with my own, with my own power. And I think that that's what you two guys, are doing, right? With your businesses, My Little Sugar Plum business, Melanin Bay Body Butter. I think it's you finding you, and you realize that you get to mold and shape yourself, right? We've been so molded. How many of us, we all got phones. We got iPhones. Now, Steve Jobs could have called this anything he wanted to call it. He called it
Yeah.
iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
and we adopted it, right? And we're
Yeah.
dependent upon it, right? And you know why? Because he had a vision about what he was creating. It's
Yes.
time for us to become so visionary, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we do whatever, we keep showing up, we keep producing, we keep
Yes.
selling, we keep
Mm-hmm.
creating, right?
Yes.
Because we have a vision. And as time passes, just like we are just as dependent upon this phone, we will
Yes.
become dependent upon the products and services that we decide that we want to provide,
Yes.
Absolutely.
right? We have to do that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
You know, and I just love community forward businesses like yours, Carolyn, because
Yeah.
I think that those are the businesses that keep us grounded and
Mm-hmm.
care,
Yeah.
right? Because we need to all care for each other, right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
to build a business that's designed to uh, provide employment to kids with disabilities, it's just a beautiful concept.
Mm-hmm.
And I take, if I had a head, I'd take it off.
And just to have joy in doing it is the
Right.
best thing ever. And to have the support of the parents, making sure that guys get to work on time. We would work like we work in the heat, in the sun. They don't complain. We freeze and work. They don't complain. They just work. And just to have, and they, you know, and they show up. And they show up to work every single time. And so it makes a huge difference. It really does.
Wow.
And it just makes me not want to give up. So, you
That's
know,
good. Don't give up.
yeah.
Don't give
No.
up.
Oh no, I
Now,
would never do that. Never do that ever.
now tell the audience, Miss Nixon, where can people buy your products? Where can they connect with you on social media? Just share all of your social media handles and go from there.
You guys can follow us on Instagram at Melanin Babe Body Butter, and our website is live and it's up and running. So you guys
Yay!
can check us out at www.melaninbb.store.
Wow. I remember when you didn't have a website and now you have a website.
Right? Right?
One step
DM and
at a
Cash
time.
App. Yes.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Carolyn, where can
Yes.
people locate you and connect
So
with you?
okay, so currently we are leasing a commercial kitchen. So we have pop-up our Curbside Express every first and third Sunday on Huffmeister Road. It's 17527 Huffmeister Road in Cypress, Texas, from 12 to 4. And also we have our Facebook page, My Little Sugar Plums Bakery. And you can also find us on Instagram under My Little Sugar Plums Bakery.
Perfect. And can you just say the address and the times for the pop-up again?
Okay, our address is 17527 Huffmeister Road. That's the corner of Skinner and Huffmeister Road in Cypress, Texas. And our pop-ups are every first and third Sunday from 12 until 4 p.m.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna tell you now, with that pop-up, you better get there early and put your orders in because she'd be sold out real fast. I'm telling you, she'd be sold out real fast. Well, I am so glad that you guys came onto the platform to talk about your businesses, to encourage other female and male entrepreneurs. We're not sexist. We want to share the love and share the knowledge. Are there any last words that you would have of encouragement and empowerment for our audience? I'll start with you, Nixon.
Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. You might be scared. Nobody said you weren't gonna get scared. I'm scared all day, every day. I'm doing my first pop-up shop tomorrow, but I'm going and I'm just gonna do it. Just do it.
Well,
Just
I
do
wish I was in Maryland. I'd come do that pop-up shop with you.
it.
Thank you. What about you, Carol?
I would just tell people, don't be afraid to fail, that you learn from your failures. Whatever it is that you want to do, just do it and move forward.
Wow.
Don't let anything stop you, money or anything. Start little and then work your way up. So.
Wow. Well, I thank both of you for coming onto the platform. And as both of you are aware, I am hosting my webinar on outwitting the devil, using observation to construct the life you want. And I think that you guys are definitely using your observation to start constructing the life you want. And so definitely please sign up if you
I
have
will.
not. And that those details are definitely on they're on the website at freeyourthinkingmind.com. You can just click on the upcoming webinar link. So I just want to say thank you guys for coming onto the platform. I enjoyed our conversation. I do plan on at some point putting together like a business summit because I want to really help other people, females and males, to start their business. As many of you know, I am an attorney. I'm a licensed attorney in the state of Texas, and I do, I do work with businesses. And I just want to see us grow our businesses and grow our ideas. I don't want our ideas to be buried in the grave. I think it was Les Brown. He's a motivational speaker. He said one time that some of the best ideas and the greatest talents are laying in the graveyard.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want that to happen. I want you to at least try, like you said, Nixon, just do it.
Yeah.
Right. And as you said, Carolyn, there are no failures. Yeah. Right. Just learn from it and keep going.
Keep it going.
All right. Ashe, 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 free thinkers.
Thank you.
You stay manifest in your life today and every day. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe.